Welcome to episode 159 of the Thunder Underground podcast. My name's Trent, joined by Jason, and we've got Jared James Nichols on this episode.
I know, man. How you doing?
Good.
How are you feeling?
Feeling much better.
You have been sick. We've been on a little hiatus.
Yeah, it's been...
Because you have the atomic cough.
Right. It's been over, 2.5 weeks, I think, since we put one up.
Yeah. We've got some stuff to catch up on, but we're going to get to all of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, glad to be back. And this is weird. No one would know, but we're sitting on opposite sides, so I'm not used to looking to my left.
I know. Now you know how I feel, motherfucker.
Right. Well, Jared James Nichols has a fantastic album that just came out in January called Black Magic. And we actually talked about that in depth here about 2 episodes ago. Maybe it was that last episode. It's been so long.
Yeah, it could have been.
I think it was actually the last episode. So go back to 158 and check that out. But before we get to that, we want to play some music. And we've got a band here called Oddfellas that's out of Amarillo, Texas. They're going to be playing Rocklahoma this year.
Can't wait.
On the Axis stage. And judging off of the music I've heard from them, looking forward to that for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And this song is called Mama Said, and this is actually the world premiere right here.
That's
First
right.
time anyone's ever heard this. So check this out. Mama Said from Oddfellas.
One day you'll be put to the test. You're gonna be the one.
Mama Said, the brand new single from Oddfellas, and that is off their EP called Audacity.
There you go.
It's Audacity.
Gotcha.
You know, like their name, ODD.
Yes.
Play on words there, of course, but that EP, the debut EP from Oddfellas, comes out this Friday. So be on the lookout for that. I think there's 5 songs on it.
Nice. Yeah, this is a great track. You know, kind of dark.
Yeah.
You know, I liked how it kind of set, I could imagine, you know, like a heist movie at night or something.
Right.
I mean, that probably it's the furthest thing from what the song was about, but,
right.
You know, just, that's what the music put in my head. You know, great production, really cool song. Can't wait to see these guys at Rocklahoma.
Yeah, I love the guitar tone. It reminded me a lot of like stoner metal, but the music doesn't sound like stoner metal at all, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a bridge between that and blues, and then they call themselves progressive blues, and you can hear a lot of that in there as well.
Yeah, I can see that. I get that for sure.
Yeah. And that voice kind of reminded me of Be It The Means at times.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Another band we've championed in the past out of Georgia.
Yes. I didn't think about that until just now you said that, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Yeah. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, well, there you go. The debut world premiere of that track. It's like we said, Rocklahoma. I believe they're playing Sunday on the Axis stage, so get out there early. The shows usually start at noon, I think.
Okay.
Check them out and everybody else that's playing that day. That's kind of a good style of music, too, for a Sunday, you know?
It is. It really is.
You know, your final day there, you know, you're worn the fuck out. You don't need something blasting in your face, you know? This is some good stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up, I know that you're one of the world's biggest Metallica fans.
Yes.
And I saw this thing. I'm sure you saw this because you're, like I said, massive fan. But the next, what do you want to call it, remaster that they're doing?
Yes.
Is the Garage Days Revisited.
Oh, dude.
And but the one thing I wanted to point out is I heard that they're packaging this in the CD box. Like the CD
long box.
Yeah, the long boxes like
man.
you used to get them, you know, back in 1980, whatever that was, 7? Is that when it was? Or?
Yeah. Do you remember? Because I told you I pre-ordered the damn thing.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you could do that yet.
Oh, yeah. No, they've had the thing on their website for I don't know, a few weeks, a month or so. I pre-ordered, and they've got a million different options. You can get just vinyl, you can get a orange vinyl, a picture disc, cassette, CD. You can get bundles with a shirt, all this horse shit, whatever. I got the picture disc. I pre-ordered that. And then you can get the CD in the long box, like back when they first, and I remember telling you that I pre-ordered it. And then later on, I was like, fuck, I forgot to tell him that they're doing the CD long box. He'd get a kick out of that. Yeah. And so, yeah, they're doing totally. Yeah, I almost thought of fucking getting that just for the hell of it. That'd be funny, you know, but I didn't.
I heard someone talking about it on Sirius the other day, and I wonder if it's like made the same exact way or if the long box is like a keepsake where, you know, before you'd tear it open and you'd have to be careful if you wanted to keep just that cheap ass cardboard stuff or whatever it was, you know, but.
Hey, you know, we used to make posters out of those things. Don't lie. Everybody did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
At least it's not in that long. Do you remember the long plastic thing that came later?
Oh yeah. Those sucked. And then you gotta, those, but they take those off at the register, right?
I don't know. I
can't remember.
I thought there was ones that they would send with you. There was the ones that had like the security thing on it. But I don't know.
Yeah, those are the days, huh?
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to get that long box just for the nostalgia factor.
You should.
Yeah.
Don't open it.
Right.
Because, you know, we've all heard Garage Days. You can, you know.
And we'll hear it again on Spotify anyway.
Yes.
You just buy it, not open it.
Remastered, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, and then I saw just the other day that Steve Thompson did an interview and said he doesn't think that they're going to remaster And Justice for All. Like, you know, everybody's hoping they will. Remaster in the sense of turning the bass up.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
I know they won't.
Right.
And they've said that, you know, yes, it was, you know, yes, the bass is a little dodgy, whatever, you know, that no one can hear it. We know that, but they want to keep things as like a picture in time.
Because it would completely change the sound of it.
Yes. And Jason Newsted has even he's even championed that style of thinking about it too. He doesn't want it messed with. So, I mean, that's not going to happen, people. Get over it,
right.
you know? And, you know, go look up Justice for Jason on YouTube and listen to that if it's such a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, and of course Jason's going to go along with whatever because he's still making money off of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, they'll just, you know, they'll keep it that way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, today's a Monday, but obviously this isn't live.
No.
We recorded this last night, and today is the big announcement when Metallica's announcing their tour. And they've basically, most of the dates have leaked out. I mean, most of the cities have leaked out.
Not the, yeah.
We don't know the dates yet, and that's by the time you're hearing this, you can Google that and see where they're playing. But they're supposed to be in Tulsa. And as far as our area of the country goes, they're also in Wichita, Little Rock, Kansas City, I think Lubbock. I don't know. And I think they're not hitting some of the places that they did, you know, the big cities that they hit in the stadiums like Dallas and which makes sense, you know, because they're hitting all the other markets, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm pumped. I'm definitely going to Tulsa. I know that I want to hit another one. Realistically though, I probably shouldn't. I should probably save my money, but I also know that I'm a rabid fan. So I don't know, you know, it just depends.
You know you will, Wichita or Kansas City.
I know. Let's just, I mean, come on. It's me. You know, what are you going to do?
So what are you hoping for as far as opening acts go?
Oh, man. I don't know. I think if they keep it like they usually have done it, you're going to get 2 opening acts. One's going to be a pretty mid, you know.
Big band.
Yeah, and then the opening band will be like a newer band, and it just, you know, kind of like what you said, whatever hipster metal is in, they'll probably do, because they have a history of kind of, you know, putting in the swords and the Gojiras and stuff like that. God, I don't know, you've got to think about who's going to have something new, who's going to be out and touring, you know, who's available, and I don't know. Once it's announced, it'll be like, oh, that's so obvious. I should have thought of that.
Right.
But I'm drawing a blank now. So what do you do?
I just hope it's not Godsmack.
That's my thing, is I'm kind of wondering, you know, that's Godsmack's doing a thing, you know, they're coming back this year. They're going to have a big record and blah, blah, 20th anniversary. And, no shit.
It would make sense if it's them.
Yeah, it really would. But
you know, personally, I would love if they took Trojan Conformity again. You know.
Oh, then that would be stellar. A couple times
in the past, and you know they've got a new album out. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously, smaller bands like Battlecross would be amazing.
Yes.
But another band I thought would be like amazing if they took out would be Clutch, because people know and love Clutch, but you don't ever see Clutch on these big. You know, maybe they just have turned stuff down, but you don't ever see them on the big stage like that.
I know this. Yeah, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of have, you know, do maybe a Zach Sabbath and Clutch or something like that. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Zach, that's a good point too.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't wait. So it's just, I'm all giddy and shit. It's pretty nerdy.
Yeah.
You know what? I do have something that came up in my head I want to talk about real quick.
All right.
This might be a little tough to talk about, but I want to bitch about something.
Okay.
It's been a while back, but former Black Label Society guitar player, Evil Twin, Nick Catanese. Do you remember what happened to him? A month or so ago, 2 months ago?
Well, yeah.
He got popped for sending pictures of his schmeckle to kids, and it pisses me off. And it really pisses me off because, one, that's just bullshit. And two, that guy got to meet Jennifer Aniston and be in a movie with her in his lifetime. You know? And here I am, you know, fucking sad bastard on my Howe Foundation couch, watching fucking Will and Grace, you know, wondering, you know, what kind of world is it out there? You know, I should be able to meet Jennifer Aniston. But no, this fucking weirdo gets to. It's not fucking fair.
Well,
it's not fair, and fuck him. So that's all I want to bitch about.
What makes me mad is that I fucking love this guy.
I know.
Up until that point, I guess. Yeah. You know, obviously, but I meant, you know, all those years, you know, I was bummed whenever he left.
Yep.
And It's just one of those guys that I would even, seriously, like every few months I would look him up and see if he was doing what he was doing, if he was doing anything else, I
mean, he was a great player. He could mirror anything Zach did, and he was always out there, shaking hands and stuff, walking around after the show.
Yeah, we met him at that Kansas City show years ago.
And now look, he's a fucking petter ass. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that sucks, and, he can go to hell. And Jennifer, I'm out there. I know you're single now, so.
Oh, that's true. I saw that the other day.
And she's the most beautiful woman in the world. So let's get something going, Jen. Let's do it. I'm totally available.
Hell yeah. Hit him up at thethunderunderground@gmail.com. If I see it first, I'll be sure to forward it right on.
Okay.
Jennifer. Or at 918JDub is his direct Twitter. You can hit him that way too.
Yeah. Why not? Do it.
Well, speaking of Twitter, we're THNDRUNDR Ground. Hit us up there. Follow us. What else do we got? We're on Facebook.
Friendster.
Friendster. YouTube at The Thunder Underground. Instagram is at The Thunder Underground. Get on Patreon. That's Thunder Underground. Just Google, just search us on there. Become a patron. That would be amazing.
Totally amazing.
Of course, Facebook, SoundCloud. You can find us on iTunes and everywhere else. Well, let's get into this. We've got Jared James Nichols. Like we said, this past episode a couple weeks ago, we talked about Black Magic. This second album. Well, I guess he had an EP and an album, so this will be the third release technically. But just such a great, blues hard rock. You kind of said if you like stuff like Blackstone Cherry or who else? Early Ian Moore. This is just great swinging blues rock, pure America. And Jared James Nichols, he plays the shit out of his guitar. He feels every note, and he pulls every note out of his instrument with like the utmost passion. You can see it when he plays, and this album just oozes with it. So, definitely pick up Black Magic. Yeah, and he just got off the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Yeah, I think he's in Europe already now.
Yeah, he's on tour in Europe right now, opening up for, is it Stonebreed, I think is the band?
I can't remember.
Yeah. But, yeah, on that Monsters of Rock, he played with Frank Hannon during one of his solo sets.
Yeah, that's badass.
Had his own set. Last year he opened up for Saxon and UFO on their tour, and he opened it up for Zakk Wylde on his Book of Shadows tour. So this guy's getting out there. I'm hoping he comes back our way here in the next, this year. So
definitely
gotta see him live. Well, let's get into this. This is Jared James Nichols.
Yeah, I grew up in Wisconsin, so when I saw the Central Time, I was like, yup, I know that. I know that shit.
Hell yeah.
But
you're in California now? Yeah,
I'm in California right now. I'm in LA. I used to play in, I think we played the Diamond Ballroom. That was in where was that, in Oklahoma?
Oklahoma City, I think.
Yeah, Oklahoma City,
Zach?
and then it was Zach, and then I played a place in Ardmore, Two Frogs.
Oh yeah,
I played there a few times. Little joint, but very cool.
Yeah, I've seen a couple shows there.
Yeah, dude, nice.
Yeah,
well, gentlemen, talk to me, man.
Well, you're getting ready to leave this weekend on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Being as your sound's a little bit different than the standard bands that are on that.
Well, what's funny, man, is the first thing is rock and roll in 2018 now. It's so different than what it used to be, right? Because there used to be like so many genres and subgenres. And now it's funny, man. Anyone that's on the stage with a guitar or they're playing real instruments, it's like, okay, cool. So we kind of got accepted like that. But the funny part is, with the sound I have, we've been getting on all these support slot tours, right? So we've been with everybody from Zakk Wylde, UFO and Saxon, Blue Oyster Cult, Leonard Skinner, And it's just funny because with all these tours, we start meeting all these people. And I met a photographer, and he's the photographer on the Monsters of Rock cruise. His name's Igor. I met him up in Toronto, Canada. And he goes, "Hey, man, you ever done Monsters of Rock cruise?" I was like, "Hell no, dude, but I'd love to." And then next thing you know, 3 days later, I get a call from the promoter, and he's like, "Hey, we'd love to have you on the cruise." So I think, it's one of those things, just being out there. And like I said, the stuff I play, it kind of rolls over these days, man. Like rockers can get into it. It's loud. It's aggressive. It's kind of putting it all together. But I don't use hairspray, and I don't wear makeup. So that's,
that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Exactly, dude. But
well, let's get into Black Magic a little bit. It's a great record, and I noticed it seems like it was released for a while, and then it got taken away, and then it pushed back a couple of months. Talk about what all happened with the U.S. release of that.
Yeah, well, what's funny, man, is we've had a deal now in Europe for the past 2 years when we released Old Glory and the Wild Revival. And basically we've been killing it over there, just touring. And, the States, it's a different place. And what we were really trying to work on is, obviously we recorded Black Magic out of love, but we had to get a record out in Europe for this upcoming tours and, get it done on the festival circuit. And it was my bright idea to basically say, hey, let's release this everywhere. So we release it, and then all of a sudden we started getting some interest in it, and it was like, oh, wait, maybe we could blow it up a little bigger, and we could do more with the record if we held back and we started to work with a company and work with someone on some distribution. And, because one thing that's funny, when you learn how to play guitar and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be a guitar player. Next thing you know, here we are talking about distribution and talking about where we can get the record and what countries, and so it came really apparent to me that truth is, man, I pulled it back because I wanted to put it out in the whole world. I just didn't want a U.S. release, so we took our time, we did the right steps, and now it's available worldwide, and it's kind of cool because it's actually getting picked up, and we're working on getting some syncs, and even on like little things on Spotify. I was surprised the first day one of the tracks on there, Honey Forgive Me, got picked up. It already had like 200,000 views in less than 24 hours. So I was really pumped about that. And the main goal of holding it back, although I wanted it out, was just to make a bigger splash with it, And what's crazy is now that having that record out and having everyone hear Black Magic, we're starting to get on we're starting to write new tunes already and already getting a bigger and better, situation figured out. So it's exciting, man.
Yeah, you said that making a splash, and I've noticed, over the last few months, you see your name popping up more everywhere. Do you think that's because of the tours with Saxon and Zach, or if it's just better PR this time around, or what?
You know what? The PR hasn't changed, man. The PR hasn't changed. What it is, I think, is it's like anything, man. It's a grassroots approach. And, it's funny because now we're getting approached by more labels about working together and doing bigger PR stuff. But, I think honestly what it is, fellas, is, you work on something so long and you hit the door and you bang at the door for so long and people start to finally see it, and then putting out the record and having a fresh batch of tunes and, just being on the road all the time. I think that it's one of those things where I was just putting that out there so hard, just trying to get it back. You know what I mean? And what's cool now is, it's cool to see that work paying off and seeing people get excited about it. And it gives me a little bit more of a validation. Like, yeah, people do get it. This is badass, But I'm glad to hear you say my name's popping up, man. Yeah. And the funny part is, we're just trying to stay on the road as much as possible and just fucking do the good work, man. Just, play rock and roll and tour and fucking, just live it.
Exactly. Well, in the record, I like the short to the point songs. It's real direct. Did it just come about that way, or did you intend to make it like that?
Honestly, man, that was a total intention move, because, this was the thing. We had Old Glory, and that was the first time I'd basically ever really been in a studio, was to cut that record. So that was one that was just learning the ropes. And then when you hear Black Magic, it's basically, I would say, 2 years on the road, and we started coming up with these songs, these little jams and riffs, and everything was so organic. And it was to the point where I said, I want to make a record that's short, it's sweet, and it's just straight up.
Yeah.
I didn't want any jamming, I didn't want any of that on the record, because there comes a point where I think that this record is just a boost. How do I say this? This record's a boost to the next one, because it's to the point of like, it's straight up. The songs, everything is just, it hits you really hard. And then when you come see it live, obviously there's, then you see the whole live element to it where we do jam it out, and there's more of a, that kind of feel. But, I just wanted to hit people really hard over the head and say, here I am, take it or leave it. This is where we're going, and, shoot it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet all that road work really helped, in between.
Oh, it's like going to prison, bro. You're like, literally, you're like, I remember, man. I mean, this is a true story. When I first started on tour, like, I used to like go to like a Walmart, and I used to like buy food and get all my stuff, and like I was going on a vacation. Like when I always laugh. It's like when people go on vacation. Like, oh, what am I missing in my pack?
Yeah.
Well, when you're on the road, man, and when you're touring and you're playing the way we play, now it's my guitar or my gear, a backpack, and let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, and it's kind of like this record. It's like I got rid of all of those. I don't know. The first record, it was so much, excitement and hesitation and pressure and all this stuff. And on Black Magic, I just literally put it out there, and I was just like, "Fuck it, here we go, baby." You know, and it's just like it's kind of like I got hard. Yeah, well, hanging out with Zach for 6+ months, and then going out with all these old rock bands, it's like you got to get on the ropes or else go home,
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Grassroots. When you guys are out on the road, is it just the three of you doing everything?
Well, you know what? It was for a long time, but you know how it is. It's always about the money when it comes to touring, right? We want to make as much money as possible to keep us on the road. And don't get me wrong, it's not like we're trying to cut corners in a bad way. We're just trying to say, hey, what can we get away with? What can we do on our own? And what works. But, I got to say it. When we're in Europe, no. I can tour in the UK, and I can do some shows in the UK, and I can drive and do that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to it, man, sometimes you need that driver, So, like, when we were on the road with Zach, we had a driver, we had a sound guy, and the band, And we're all young dudes. It's not like we're in the diva mode. We're all working it.
Yeah.
I mean, any band that's playing now, man, unless it's funny in America, it seems like either you're on the low pole or you're high. There's not a big in between market. So for us, in the States, we schlep it, man. We'll get a sound guy, a driver, and us. But in Europe, it's a lot different. The venues, dude. There's like people that work at the venues and they take their job really seriously. And they're like, I am the sound man, and they're like, you show up and there's food and everything's ready to rip, So you get treated really well over there. But, we keep it lean and mean, dude, just like the music,
Yeah.
It's like we're not trying to I'm not trying to glamorize what it is, It's a fucking rock band in 2018.
Right.
Well, next question is, I'm sure one you get all the time, but just for us, playing with your fingers, no pick.
Yeah.
I mean, when did that come about? When you decided this is what I need to do? How did that happen?
I was like, why God? No, that came about. All right, let me see. We're gonna backtrack. So, like, I started playing guitar when I was about 15, and I was like every other kid, learning the ropes. I was printing off tabs and trying to, doing the whole bit, dude. I mean, I was dedicated. That was in, I feel like an old man. That was in like 2005, 2004, 2004 kind of started. And I was going through the motions, man. I was trying to play like everybody else. And I got pretty good, man. I was playing a Stratocaster with a pick. I was trying to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan. I just wanted to be that. And I loved the blues, and I loved all of it. And I thought to myself, if I could play like Stevie Ray Vaughan and I could sound like Jimi Hendrix and Buddy Guy, that was going to be it. That was the end-all, be-all. So I would practice. I woodshed, like a motherfucker, dude, 12 hours a day when I was a kid, just learning all the licks and doing the whole thing. And when it come down to it, by the time I was like 17, my mom, she hooked it up, and I went to a 5-day program in Boston to Berkely, the music school. And they were like, when I went there, it was all fine and dandy. And all of a sudden at the end, they said, hey, congratulations. If you want to come to school here, we want to give you a scholarship. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And like, I kind of got pumped up about it. And they were like, yeah, well, and I think it was like a $30,000 scholarship or something. So I was like, for a 17-year-old kid, I was like, what the fuck? Really?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, now I got to start learning. So then when I got home, I got into like theory, and I got into technique, and really, really digging in, learning all the stuff behind it, So when I got to Berkely, I was ready when I was 18. And I remember the moment I got to Berkely, it was like a piece of my soul died, because before I was there, I was this uninhibited guitar player that was like just fucking lived to play, and like if I was playing guitar, I was happy. That was a happy place, Then when I got to Berkely, I was surrounded, and I mean, this sounds bad, but I was surrounded by a lot of just downers, just a lot of people that were not there for the right reasons. A lot of even the teachers, they I don't want to say like they were trying to be hard on kids, but it was like, like their dreams were crushed, so now they're going to crush yours. And I remember when I went there, I was like, man, I want to play blues, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, yeah, if you're going to come here, that's fun and that's fine, little guy, but we're going to start you out with classical and jazz, and you got to buy a fucking flamenco guitar, like a Spanish guitar, like with nylon string and this, and learn how to read and all this stuff. And I was ready to do it to a point, but then I thought to myself, on a real note, I was like, man, I don't want to be this guy. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to play. And I told them that, and they were just kind of like, yeah, we don't do that here, And then I remember I was in all these English classes and liberal arts and all this stuff, and nothing ever against any of that. But that just wasn't where I was at the moment and who I was. So I remember I started to like rebel, and I was like, man, I don't even like playing guitar anymore. This fucking sucks. And I remember I got a gig opportunity, and I told my parents, hey, I'm fucking dropping out. I'm done. And they were like, what? My dad was okay with it because he was just kind of like, but my mom was fucking heartbroken, dude. She, I had this big opportunity, and then I left, and I just didn't care. And then I came home, and I was back in Wisconsin, and I'm sitting there looking at the guitar, and I'm looking at the Strat, and I'm looking at everything I've done and all this. And, I had chops at this point. It wasn't like I was like I couldn't play, but I was like, man, who am I? What am I going to fucking do? Like it was almost a moment like that. And I used to practice, like I grew up in like farmland, so I was like in a barn with an amp and a Strat. And I was literally like, I got to do something. Like it was a moment, like I got to do something. I got to change something up to get it going, And I love blues. I love Albert King. I was like, I'm just going to play what I want to play. I'm going to play the exact way I want to play. No one is going to tell me how to play anymore. And no one, and it wasn't like I was trying to be a dick, but it was like, I just went through hell, and now I'm going to come back, and, life's too short, man. Do what you love. And, and besides the money part, do what you love. And I remember I picked up the guitar, and I literally looked at it, and I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck the pick. I'm just going to go. And I started doing that, and I connected with it right away, because I remember right when I first started to play guitar, it felt better with the fingers. And my guitar teacher went, I can't teach you how to play unless you play with a pick, And I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden I started playing with my fingers, and I was like, God, this feels good. Like, this feels cool. And I was on that bridge pickup with a little bit of dirt on it. Yeah. Now I'm getting all guitar-y. And I was like, God, this feels good. Like, it feels real, man. Turn the reverb off. I was just like, like this is real. And then I remember I got like a really shitty Les Paul, like a really shitty one from like secondhand a few days later, because it was like, I was like, what's up with that? And I ripped the neck pickup out, and I started to go to town on it, and I was just like, you know what, this is cool. I'm gonna do this for a while. And then all of a sudden it was like a new lease on life, man. And the fingers kind of gave me a different feel of the guitar, because there's nothing in the way. And I mean, it sounds, maybe some guys will try and call me out or whatever, but when you play with a pick, it's so one-dimensional, I feel. Mm-hmm. And that's just me. but it's like you are a slave to that fucking pick, you know? And when I play, it's like the possibilities are truly endless with the sounds I want to make, you know, because it's literally, there's nothing in the way.
Yeah.
And it's just something special. And like now I use like a P90 pickup, which I feel like is like literally the most, you know, it has all of the sounds. But there's a way that like now when I play, I never get bored and I'm never like super like repetitive, because every time I pick up the guitar, it's like fresh and it talks to me in a different way, you know? So like, you know, it's just like, dude, it's like fucking, I could say a bad thing or I could say a good thing. It's like putting a glove on your hand, you know, and you're trying to, everything you do, you can't really feel it, right?
Yeah.
Or I could say, you know, a sexual way. But it's like, you just, it's better without the glove, you know?
I got you.
And that's the way it is, dude. So, and it's funny because people started connecting me with that technique, and they're just like, oh yeah, you're that no pick guy. And all of a sudden it like became a thing. And then they're like, oh, you don't play with a neck pick. And it became a thing, and it became way bigger than I'd ever assumed it could be or whatever. So it's just hilarious now because a lot of people like on like Instagram or whatever, you know, if I'm playing a guitar with a neck pickup, like I got some custom shop from Gibson I was jamming on for a minute. Mm-hmm. And they're like, what the fuck? What's up with the neck pickup? You know, it's like people expect these things out of me now, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But it came from a kid, dude, that was just fed up with trying to be like everybody else. And I was like, I want to sound like me, man. You know?
Yeah. Is that, that's definitely, you found your lane. That's for sure.
Yeah. I know. So to answer your question in 20 minutes, that's it, man. You know, I found the lane and I found something that I really enjoy. And, you know, it's a beautiful marriage, dude. I'm happy to do it.
Well, kind of maybe in the same vein as, you know, finding your own lane. You know, I've got a couple Epiphones, and I was just kind of wondering, you know, for you, what does Epiphone do, and why Epiphone?
Well, to be honest, dude, first and foremost, it's the people over there. Epiphone and Gibson, honestly, and with my experiences, great people. I've been using Gibson guitars, I guess, and Epiphone since I was, 18, 19. Mm-hmm. But what really called me to Epiphone was the same kind of thing that called me to the no pick and all that stuff. When I was playing Gibson for a long time and I loved him, right? And I met Jim, who's basically the owner of Epiphone, and he said, hey, if there's anything you'd ever want to try or, you know, anything you'd ever want to take a look at, let me know. And I remember it was at this point where, you know, a lot of people don't understand as well. There's a guitar thing that people are fixated on the most expensive guitars, and the most expensive things are going to make you sound the best. And it's so funny because a lot of guys would go, oh, I'm really looking for that bluesy tone. I have a 59 custom shop reissue and all this stuff. And I'm going, motherfucker, do you think Muddy Waters was playing a 59 Les Paul? He was playing a Sears K guitar or a Silvertone. You know what I mean? So like, to me, the thing that I was instantly attracted to was the way that I play. It's not like I'm looking for those crazy jazz or, you know, like this insane. I'm looking for the most raw, direct tones I can. And I remember my buddy Mac and a sweet friend of mine, Jenny at Gibson, we were all looking at guitars, and because I was like, I really want to try that Epiphone stuff, you know. And they found this one, and it's a 55 inspired Les Paul custom, right? And they ordered it to the showroom here in LA, and I picked it up, dude, and literally instantly I was like, holy shit. And I mean, I remember when I was like 15, 16, Epiphone wasn't the cool guitar, and it was almost like a thing where it was like, it was put down as like, you know, a lesser quality, almost like a Squire or Mexican Strat would be, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I picked up this Les Paul, this custom, and I was like, the neck, the feel, the weight, I was like, this thing feels awesome. And I remember I plugged it in with the P90, and I was like, whoa, yeah, I'll play this, you know? And the funny part is, dude, I got that guitar, let's see, that would have been last February, and I played it to death, man. I played it to death. I played it for a whole year straight, just one of them. And literally yesterday, they just sent me two more. I'm staring at it right now. And they are great guitars, man. And it's so funny because there's a stigma, you know, people go, you know, they don't play these things because they feel like maybe they're not as good or whatever. But man, I am here to tell you the tones that I can get out of an Epiphone. If there was that Pepsi challenge, the taste test, bro, and you put up a 60 or a 55 custom compared to my Epiphone custom, I guarantee you, man, I'll make them both sing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
As always, dude, it comes down to the player, right? So it's whatever inspires you to play. And for me, you know, the Epiphone stuff, it's like, honestly, man, it's such good stuff. And I don't know, I can't say enough about it. It's just, I dig it. And I'm not one of those guys that's like a snob about gear. I used to be. See, I think that's where it comes from. I used to be a snob, and now I'm just looking at it and I'm like, no, this thing's fucking great, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, I mod it to hell. It's like a Eddie Van Halen, Frankenpaul, you know?
Well, besides the obvious blues influences, were there any guitarists early on that inspired you that were outside of that blues realm?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, all the classic rock guys, really. My first, like, guitar hero was Tony Iommi.
Okay.
And then, like, Jimmy Page, obviously, Zeppelin. It was, like, that classic late 60s to, like, 76 stuff. So it was, like, The Who, Pink Floyd, Sabbath, Zeppelin, I mean, Cream, Hendrix, you know, all that stuff. But then a lot of people probably wouldn't know I was influenced when I was as a kid by, like, Buckethead. I used to love Buckethead. And I still love Buckethead. And different guys, obviously, like the Eddie influence. And then when I got into like technique hard, right, I was listening to guys like Paul Gilbert, Satriani, you know, I was into guitar. So guitar players, and anyone that was like blew my mind, I was like, ooh, I want to know that, or I want to look at this, you know? So like for me, it was always about the guitar players. And yeah, I mean, dude, I love Dimebag. I love Zach. I mean, there's so much. The well is so deep, you know? And I think that's what's cool is when I meet a lot of guys and they'll be like, oh, dude, I only play blues and I only listen to blues. And I'm like, dude, you're stunning your growth, man. Just, you know, and it's like, if that's what you love and that's all you want to do, more power to you, man. But, you know, for me, it was like, I just love guitar and I want to play as much, you know, make it as fucking musical and crazy as possible.
Well, being a kid in the early 2000s, what was it that drew you to all that stuff? Was it your parents?
You know what it was, dude? Living in Wisconsin, dude. It's like 20 years behind.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
you
know how it is.
Exactly. We feel you.
Well, dude, I mean, like, I remember when I was like a kid, like, it was like Limp Bizkit, Kid Rock, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, right on, you know? But then when it was like, you know, that age where it was like either I was going to get into sports, and I was playing football and I was doing all that stuff, but a lot of my friends, like, it was weird, man. There was like 6 or 7 of my buddies, all of a sudden they all got guitars, and I was like, whoa. And then I was like, man, you know what? Everyone's playing guitar. I'll be the drummer, you know? And I remember I got a drum set, and I conned it off like one of my older brother's friends. And I remember I brought it home, and my dad got home from work, and he came in the basement. He's like, hell no, dude. Hell no, dude. This ain't happening, you know? I ain't going to come home from work and hear this. So they're like, get a guitar. You can take it with you, you know? And so much easier to carry, and we can turn it down, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I remember the moment that I said, yeah, I want to play guitar was when I got like a Washburn guitar and like a crate amp, like a little practice amp. And I remember distinctly, dude, I was like, how did they get that sound? It sounds so like mean. And there was all of a sudden I'm looking at the little amp, and all of a sudden I see this little button and it says OD. And I was like, what the fuck's that? And I hit it, and all of a sudden I was like, wow. And I was like, whoa, there it is, you know? And then I got like a wah pedal, and it was like the world opened up, and I was like, dude, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was just one of those things. Hunting, fishing, you know, it's Wisconsin, you know, you're going to be an outdoors guy or whatever. And I had a lot of time growing up to sit around and pick guitar. So it's like, instead of playing video games, dude, I was getting the next level on guitar, you know?
Right. Well, I saw this picture the other day of you with Joe Perry and Johnny Depp. Was that at NAMM?
No, man, that was actually here in Hollywood at a jam. There was a jam here at, it's like a Lucky Strike. It's like a bowling alley with a big stage. and they host like a jam over there. And
yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard of it. It's called Soundcheck, and it's awesome, dude. I mean, people now, it's funny, like people come from all over to just come and see who's going to show up and play and stuff, you know. But yeah, it's funny. I mean, if you want to talk about Joe and Johnny, you know, that well runs pretty deep too. I first met Joe through my manager, because my manager, he owns a studio out here, and Aerosmith was making their last record there. And I met Joe and Steven and the guys, and they heard me play, and they were like, come hang out with us when we're making the record. And I'm like, oh, what? You know, so I'm in the fucking control room with Aerosmith, hanging out, listening to new tunes, and everybody's fucking having a good time. And I was just like, man, this is insane. I'm not in Wisconsin anymore, dude. You know?
Yeah.
I think at this point I was 24. Yeah, 24. And I met Joe at like that. And then it was funny. One of his sons came out, Tony. And he said, hey, I'm moving out here, man. And we started hanging and whatever. Great fucking dude. He's one of my best friends now. And, you know, like, there's always a stigma, right, with people that maybe are related or whatever to, you know, famous people. Joe's kids, they break all the barriers, man. They're like you and I. You know, they're just totally cool, straight down to earth. And we became, like, best friends. So he's actually the one that co-produced, co-wrote Black Magic with me. Engineered it, the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And with that, you know, me and Tony, we were able to, we raided the vault, man. We were using a bunch of Joe's gear. We were doing the record at Johnny Depp's house and his studio where they did all the Hollywood Vampires and Alice Cooper and all that stuff. So I got really lucky, man. Really fucking good people. And, you know, music's crazy, man. It brings a lot of different people together, you know, and when you put out that energy and you're in a city like this where literally, like, LA is crazy, man, in every way. It's crazy, like, batshit crazy, but it's also crazy, like, whoa, I just saw, you know, somebody at the fucking pet store or whatever, you know, it's just weird like that.
Yeah.
You just never know. It's always an adventure here.
Yeah.
And it was funny, I saw Joe the other night, though, and he was, it was funny, there was like security guards, and they're like, you can't be back here, whatever. You know, and they were like, and I was just like, no, it's cool, man, it's cool, I'll leave. And the dude was ready to like hassle me really hard. And here come Joe and Johnny, and he's like, oh, Jared, you know, and all of a sudden the security guard's like, what? Oh, shit, you know? And they're just good dudes, man. And we just geeked out over guitars, you know? It's like me talking to you guys, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's totally cool.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I like that you posted a picture at NAMM of just, you found a Les Paul, and you said the caption was something like, it's so good to find a great guitar like this in the midst of all the whammy bars and 13-string guitars and stuff.
Oh,
I thought
yeah,
that was
dude.
Awesome. And I mean, I'm okay with all that stuff, but sometimes it gets a little crazy.
Oh, me too, man. You know, and it's all in good fun. And
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys, and I never could, because, you know, when I see somebody play like one of those fucking like 40-string guitars,
Yeah.
and I watch them play, I'm like, and I think about how much time I took to learn how to bend a string and to learn how to put a vibrato on a note. I go, man, you literally dedicated a serious portion of your life to this instrument, and there is no piece of me that's going to sit here and try and like, you know, make fun or poke at it, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it gets to the point sometimes where, like at NAMM, right? Here I am just walking around, just, you know, saying hey to people and having a good time. And I'm literally looking around and I'm like, I don't see one fucking regular old Les Paul here. There's not one guitar, you know, like, and there's something to be said, man. They did the guitars right, like, in the first run, you know? Like,
They sure did.
That guitar, I think it was a 53 gold top, right? Beautiful fucking guitar. And I was just like, man, now this is a guitar. You know, this is real. This thing has tone. This thing resonates, you know, and then it's right across the way from a guy with a computer built into a fucking 6-string, you know, like, and it's just like, where does the music part stop? And the, you know, like it's just crazy, you know? So sometimes you have to, like, for me especially, you know, you got to step back and be like, even with like pedals and all that stuff, it's like, man, I know so many guys and they have 40 pedals, and I'm like, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, like, where does it stop? And where, you know, like, it's still about us playing music, you know what I mean? And it's like, I know a buddy, he has like 12 fuzz faces. Oh, they all sound a little different. And he has them all on a board. And I'm like, dude, you're fucking insane, bro. Like, I sound different if I switch up the way I lay my hand on it. You know, like it's just, you know. So, yeah, NAMM is hilarious like that, man.
We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
You got it, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is great.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for, having me. It's totally cool.
There you go, Jared James Nichols. Thank you to Peter from Noble PR for setting that up. And, of course, thank you to Jared James Nichols for taking the time out. We got a good 30-plus minutes there, and I loved how much detail he went into on his background there growing up, going to college, and how he started playing with his fingers and all that stuff.
Yeah, that was, like I think I told you afterwards, some of that stuff I'd heard before, but he went into some stuff that I hadn't heard. I was, felt really fortunate to get a real good inside story on all that.
Yeah. And like we said earlier, you definitely need to get a hold of his album that just came out here a few weeks ago called Black Magic. You also need to go back to episode 158 of this podcast and hear us talk about it. I'm sure we'll be talking about it again at the end of the year for the best of 2018.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a short album. It's only like 30 minutes, but there's like 10 songs.
Yeah.
And,
And what's that bring us to?
You get in, get out, hashtag all killer, no filler.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, people.
But definitely, Jared James Nichols, quite cool to talk to him. He's someone that Jason's definitely been champion for a while, got me into as well, so we're glad to be able to get him here on the podcast.
Definitely.
And if this is your first time listening, we appreciate it. Go back here on soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on iTunes, Google Music, Mixcloud, TuneIn, all that great stuff. You can even tell Alexa to play Thunder Underground on TuneIn, and she'll do it.
That's right.
I've done it. There you go.
She's our homegirl.
But yeah, go back through those 158 previous episodes. There's several where we just talk and review albums and concerts, but we've got tons of interviews throughout there. We've had on guys from Seven Dust, Megadeth. We had on Dave Elveson recently. We had on Chris Broderick about a year ago. We've had on guys from Kiss, Gene Simmons, Bruce Kulick, Kirk Winstein from Crowbar and Down, Jimmy Bauer from Down, and I Hate God, and Superjoint. Man, the list goes on. Reed Mullen from COC.
Yeah, you're going to find someone you like, that's for sure.
Yeah, we cover it all, like we just talked about with this blues. We've had on a lot of guys from the glam rock stuff, like from the Monsters of Rock Cruise, and we've had on really heavy stuff. We've even had on Shooter Jennings country.
I know. Why not?
Definitely.
And that was one of the cooler ones, too.
Of course. Like I said, soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground. YouTube at the Thunder Underground, and anywhere else podcasts are heard, just search Thunder Underground. Like I've said before, we'll probably be the second thing under the Ozzy song. Click on us and follow us wherever you're listening. If you like it, follow us, all that great stuff. It helps. And of course, patreon.com/Thunder Underground. Become a patron. That stuff helps huge as well.
Big time.
Got anything else we need to talk about other than hopefully that Metallica date doesn't fall on a date you can't go?
Oh, that's taking precedence, right. Believe me.
All right, well, we'll see you soon, and until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.